What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Stream Punk Entertainment's Eagles postgame show. I am Steven at Soldier Steve 247, being joined by, of course, Mitch. How you doing, dude?
I had a long, stressful week. You know
Oof.
what I've been through, but this game did not help. This
No.
game did not help, but we got the dub. And guys, we're actually live on the Hardcore Sports Network as well. So this is like a Hardcore Sports Stream Punk post game. Probably the Sixers as well. We got to
Yep.
talk more about that. But yeah, how you doing, man? How you doing?
Kind of like a trap game, right? Almost. And then just jump right into it. That Leggett catch. Oh my God. If he holds on to that, he rolls into the end zone. Oh my gosh, we're having a much different conversation. But let's preview this from the jump. No Dallas Goedert, no Reed Blankenship, no Sidney Brown. How did those injuries impact your mindset going into this one?
We're missing some little key players there. Goddard, we know he's been injured off and on, so it's just like you got to get used to it at this point. Right. And then you got to say Garner Johnson, too. He got injured twice.
Yeah, he got banged up. Yep.
He got banged up twice, and he did come up with a pick as well.
Huge one. Huge pick.
What a game for Garner Johnson. But, yeah, men's guys got to step up, and that's exactly what we did.
And then, of course, Smith is back, and he gets a touchdown catch. My keys to this game were to stop Hubbard, and they kind of sort of did. Not really. What was one of your keys to the Eagles going into this game from your show on Thursday?
For my show on Thursday, Fly Like an Eagle. Guys, if you haven't seen it yet, it's on Steampunk exclusively every Thursday at 4. My key to victory, just stop the run. That was number 1. And 2, honestly, it was Saquon Barkley. Just give him the ball. Because, the Panthers were not one of the best run defenses in the league. We needed Saquon Barkley to get to that record. He got it. And his 100-game rushing streak, whatever you want to call it, moved on. And, yeah, that was just it. Just run the ball and be careful with it. Yeah.
How do you feel like they did when it came to Chuba? And I know you talked about him on your show, Adam Thielen. How do you feel like they did? Do you think that the absence of someone like Reed Blankenship is why Thielen kind of was able to have those clutch catches when he did?
Yeah, tremendously. I mean, Adam Thielen, people forget he was a dog in Minnesota. He can have those games in and out. And we just couldn't stop him. And with Slay, man, Slay did not have a good game from the start. And he was having a hard time out there as well. But Adam Thielen, he had a game, man. You got to put some respect on his name. He can play.
Yeah, it felt like every single time they needed it, whether it was third down, fourth down, he was there. And in the first quarter, he had that one pass, that deep pass down the sideline where he was wide open. They were moving the ball kind of easily at moments against this Eagles defense, but I'm going to contribute that to the absences on defense because of injuries. I'm sure they overlooked the Panthers a little bit. This was clearly a trap game. The Panthers have been giving teams a run for their money the last few weeks. So I was a little like anticipating this sort of like letdown headed into next week's game. But how'd you feel at the end of the first half? The score was what? They were down.
Yeah. I forget the exact score, but yeah, they were down. I was getting nervous, especially with the defense side of the ball.
14-10. 14-10. They were at 14-10 and a half.
Okay, so they were up. So I did feel kind of nervous because, the defense wasn't looking the best, and it showed desperate, and it showed in the late game in the fourth quarter how the Panthers just went right down on us and did not look good at all. And I'm like, I forget who said this, but when it comes to the bend and don't break defense,
Yeah.
when it's run correctly, it is perfect. But if you miss out on one thing, it's garbage, and that's what we saw in the fourth quarter. We could not get a stop. So that's basically what it was. The bend and don't break.
We got a comment here. Jeff Warner, go Birds. Yes, go Birds. You got the win, right? You get the win. You feel good regardless about it. You get the streak to 9 games in a row. I think this is what they said the first time they've ever had a 9-game winning streak. So it's not necessarily the way you want it to happen, but nonetheless, they get the win. How are you feeling when they got that touchdown to Tommy Tremble? I was like, yo, Bryce Young, he is marching down the field at will with these guys. And I was like, oh my God, this isn't going to be good. This is not going to be good.
No. And just like I said before in another post-game show, we make these bottom-tier quarterbacks look elite. And that's basically what happened with Bryce Young. He was looking elite. And I never heard of this guy Treble before. I'm like, who is this guy? He just scored a touchdown on us. I'm like,
rookie.
One of those games. Yeah.
Pretty sure he's a rookie. Yeah, but no, like you said, one of those games. And then the Eagles' response to that was a 3-and-out. So at that, I'm like, oh, this is the trap game. But then you mentioned it earlier. CJ gets the interception and kind of like calms everything down for a minute. That drive, you saw Hurts found Brown. Hurts got out of a sack, had that big run that led to the touchdown throw to Smith. He had a few options on that pass. It looked like I thought he was going to go to A.J. Brown on that slant, but he went the harder route and was like, let me get my guy who's missed a few games coming back, get him a touchdown. How do you feel that Devontae was coming back after the 2 games?
I felt Devontae Smith was due. He was definitely due being out 2 games. We missed him tremendously. And this was a game where A.J. Brown had to take the back seat, where Devontae Smith had to shine. Because people were forgetting how good Devontae Smith was. Like, one of my friends, I was at a party last night, and one of my friends was like, Mitch, how's Devontae Smith doing? I'm like, he's good. Why? I forgot about him. He's been out 2 weeks. I'm like, that is why. I mean, like, people are casual fans are forgetting how good Devontae Smith is.
Yeah.
So he had to get respect on his name, and that's basically what he did. That one throw to the left sideline got him to field first and goal. That was nice. That was nice.
And so that put him in the kind of like the driver's seat, I felt like, but Carolina just kept the Thielen, right? I tweeted it out. I was like, is Thielen pissing anybody else off today?
Yeah.
We got another comment coming in. Mike, go Birds, EAGLES, Eagles. Yes, let's go. Big win. Still waiting on some of these other 1 p.m. games to finish up. Waiting on. I got my eyes on that Steelers and Browns game. The Steelers look like they have that in the books, though. We'll get into the other scores later.
Shout out. Hold on one sec. Shout out to my guy Mike. He was a guest on Patterson Ave Sports Show, which was on the Hardcore Sports Network yesterday. So shout out to my guy Mike, man. You wanted to be on Fly Like an Eagle. We can work something out. Yeah, I'll hit you up. Don't worry. But thank you for being on that show. It's every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Patterson Ave Fanatic Sports Show, where my James. Oh my God, I can't speak. My guys James Schwarzer and Joe Wolf. Every Saturday at 9 a.m. Shout out to them, and thank you, Mike, for popping in.
And tons of other shows. We got Pat. He was on. He had his show this morning. He had Sean Bernard on talking Sixers. He was on the Sixers post-game show just a few minutes ago. I believe the debut of the Steelers post-game show is here right after the Steelers game. So lots of things going on at Stream Punk. So make sure you guys subscribe, like, share it out on all socials. This is the Eagles post-game show. Eagles move to 11-2, get the win over the Panthers, 22-16. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts, because the end of this game kind of left me unsettled with Hurts. I don't know if he's just it's hard to win this many games in a row and be great, or be decent. He had 20 touchdowns, total touchdowns, only 2 giveaways coming into this winning streak. He had 2 passing touchdowns today, 1 rushing touchdown. But you look at the box score, 14 for 21, 108 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, a passer rating of 110.8. But the passing game to me just seemed absent at so many stretches of the game. And then he has that delay of game, right? That knocks them out of field goal range. They don't get enough yards on the long third down to get Elliott in field goal range. And Elliott can't hit anything over 50 yards. And it was just such a dumb delay of game. How do you feel Jalen Hurts was overall this game, looking at the box score and then just from your own eyes watching the game?
This thing with Jalen Hurts against the Panthers defense, he makes the terrible defense look good. I don't know what it is, man. It's just like one of those games where he didn't have it, but then he had the rushing touchdowns in the end zone thanks to Saquon Barkley, but we'll talk about him in a minute. But with the passing game, it didn't feel like it was there. It didn't feel like it was there. Mm-hmm. When was the last time this season he threw for close to 300? I don't even think he has this year.
There's not a game that I can think of. And you could probably contribute that to what Saquon's been able to do. But this was one of those games that you could have easily had a game plan to just air it out in the first quarter. See what you do, see what you can get up on the score, get ahead on the scoreboard. Saquon's going to break, if he didn't do it this game, he was going to do it the next game, or against Washington, he was going to break LaShawn McCoy's rushing record. So why not try to see what you got, what you can get through the air? I mean, 14 of 21, 108 yards. Pretty sure last game, the stat line, he only threw the ball like 18 times. I don't know how many completed, but he had like 120 something yards. So what worries me is later on in the season, when you're going up against tough opponents like Pittsburgh, who have a pretty good run defense, right? Where you might not be able to rely on Saquon. Is he going to be able to turn it on when you have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith available, when you have games like this where you're expecting him to be able to go off?
Oh, no. It's just very, very tough right now. Can you repeat that last part? I'm sorry. I'm just like, can you repeat that last part?
Like, what? How do you feel moving forward with Jalen Hurts having, only completing 14 passes for 108 yards? Do you feel like that is winnable football moving forward when you're not playing teams like the Panthers?
I don't think it is, especially when we go up against my opinion, the best defense in the league in the Steelers, and then the Commanders, who made a statement last week. They made a statement against the Tennessee Titans. I don't even know if they're playing right now, but there are games where you can't overlook the opponent, and that's what the Eagles did today. And then you have the Cowboys and the Giants at the end of the season, but especially against the Steelers and Steelers and the Commanders, that will not cut it. That definitely will not cut it. You need at least 200 passing yards.
Yeah. And not to be a Debbie Downer on a game where they win, but on other shows, I'm listening and I'm hearing, the Eagles, this should be a blowout. I heard on this morning on the fantasy football show on ESPN, 31 to like 15 or something like that. That's what I was predicting. I was predicting the Eagles to be up in the 30s. I thought the Panthers might keep up with them, but ultimately I thought that this was a double-digit point win. Maybe not the 14-point spread that it was coming into it, but I at least thought that this was a 10-point win. That's the only thing negative that I can say moving forward, especially when you had guys who were unhealthy, Blankenship, concussion. You're always going to miss a game probably after you sustain a concussion. He should be back. Saquon, we'll talk about now the great part, right? Breaks LaShawn McCoy's record, 20 carries, 124 yards, no touchdowns though. He's on pace to do something special and have one hell of a debut season for the Eagles. MVP, right? Gotta be.
Oh, he's got to be. The only one that is close is Josh Allen. That is the only one who comes close to Saquon Barkley right now. If it wasn't for him, we would have lost majority of our games this year. That's a fact. I don't know what their record would have been, but we would have lost a majority of these games. And I love what I'm seeing with the offensive line, especially. The offensive line, especially without Jason Kelce, has been looking pretty damn good. Has been looking good, especially for the Saquon Barkley, who never had this offensive line before.
Right.
You got to think he's been with the New York Giants for his whole career, and with the bad field that he has over there, or he had, now he's got the Lincoln Financial Field. It's kind of nice. You got to put some respect on the offensive line, and it starts in the trenches.
And one guy you can give a lot of credit to, and I know he's only been back for a few games since his injury, is Mailata, right?
Yes.
How big, huge, Lane Johnson and what he's able to do. And he's now kind of that voice in the locker room that is speaking up after games and kind of taking that leadership role. How do you think Zach Bond was on defense today? He's always flying all over the place.
He's just like that linebacker you just got to be afraid of now. You got to put some respect on his name. How many tackles did he have? How many tackles? Because I predicted in my show that he had 13. So
you were close. 11 total.
Oh,
you were right there.
I think it was 13. But yeah, we have a linebacker, and you gotta keep an eye on him. He's like a threat, and you gotta extend him now. You gotta extend him. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You gotta extend him.
And talking about other linebackers, you got Nakobe Dean. He had 12 tackles. Darius Slay, you weren't a fan of him for what he did on Thielen and everything, but he did make that final pass deflection on that fourth down play at the end of the game to get the win. He stepped up. He did what he had to in this game. He had 6 tackles. It just shows, though, the depth of this team when other guys go down. I want to get back into Saquon. Do you think that they're running him too much? I know that that's a conversation that people are having, that, entering the playoffs, do you really want to have him to have that many carries under him? He had 20 carries today. He didn't have any catches. There was only one target. So Gainwell got a few carries. He got a few targets. I think they're using him perfectly. I think 25 to 26, 27 carries is perfectly fine for the type of season and what you're trying to go do now. If you get a Super Bowl out of it, you're not saying it was too many carries, right?
No. And here's the thing, too. You got to think about Kenneth Gainwell in this situation. If we had a better backup running back, then I can see Barkley taking less carries. True. Because it comes down to that. I mean, Gainwell's not exactly the brightest in a tool shed. But Kenneth Gainwell, he can get some stuff here and there, but Barkley's the best running back in the game right now. You got to feed him the rock. You got to feed it to him. Yep. You got to let him get those yards. It's the only chance of us winning.
And I'd like them to be able to find that good balance of the rushing attack and the passing attack at times, and knowing when to unleash one or the other. But hey, 9-game winning streak. They get the win over the Panthers. One last thing.
Yep.
Elliott. What are you going to do with it? I mean, he can't hit anything over 50 yards. It kind of puts what you do in certain situations, like on fourth down, when you're on the other team's 40 to 45. Now you got to think, all right, is he gonna? What's the wind like? Because I don't know if Elliott can be able to hit this. And then luckily they got the penalty on the missed extra point. Those things could be able to come back and bite you in the ass later on in the season. What do you think is going on with Elliott? Just a case of kickers and they get old? What's happening to Tucker and other kickers like that this season?
The Browns missed 3 field goals today.
It's crazy.
Like, something's up with just kickers, man. I don't know. It's just like, it's gotta be mentality. That is one. 2, it's gotta be the injuries too. I mean, they had to have known Jake Elliott was injured and not tell anybody. That's why they kept on going for it on fourth down over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
There had to be a reason, and I really think that's it. Jake Elliott was the best kicker in the league last year and 2 years ago. Among their top 5 max. But now it's just like, I don't know. We're stuck with Elliott right now, and it's sad to see. It really is.
Yeah, sucks. We got another comment. King Bomber, great win. Yes, I'll take it. Maybe not a great win. Good win. A win is a win, though, right? So let's get into the box score. Let's talk some Panthers. Bryce Young, 19 of 34, 191 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That one that we talked about from Gardner. 69.6 QB rating. I know you're happy about that one. How do you feel, Bryce? How do you feel Bryce Young was today against this Eagles defense?
Like I said before, this defense makes any quarterback. Well, there are some games that they make any quarterback look elite, and that's exactly what Bryce Young was doing. I mean, we just couldn't get him on the stop on the round or whatever. This arguably, I think this might be his best game of the season. Not saying much, but it's just like the Eagles always had that thing where they looked over the quarterback, where they looked them over and they were just like, we're good. We got to get ready for the Steelers. And push comes to shove. Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah. No, I considering the defense he was going up against, I would say this was a pretty good game. He only took 1 sack for 7 yards. He was really avoiding. He scrambled really well against this pass rush. Chuba Hubbard, 26 carries, 92 yards, 1 touchdown. Bryce Young had 7 scrambles, 7 carries. For 29 yards. How'd you think Hubbard was overall?
An underrated running back.
Yeah.
He is underrated right now. People gotta put respect on his name, especially his what is that? Elusiveness? Whatever that word.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So whatever that word is, just like how he runs, how he looks forward, and all that stuff. It's gonna work. He's the future of that running back of the Panthers. He's definitely the future. And then you look at the backup running back they had. He did get injured in this game. He did go out.
Yep.
That was terrible. I don't want to see that at all. But Chuba Hubbard, they got to extend him. I don't know if they did or not. They got to extend him because that guy and Bryce Young are the future.
No, he's the real deal. They got. I think they might have. Now that you say it, I think they might have given him a deal. But yeah, no, I agree. They got to lock him up. And then, I want to talk about the hit that CJ had on Leggett in the first quarter. It was a 3rd down, 3rd and like 10, and he lit up Leggett and caused the 4th down and everything. That was CJ had a good game. Adam Thielen, 9 receptions, 102 yards, no touchdowns, but 11 targets. Holy man, he was looking for him, and he was open all game. Cooper DeJean was on him at sometimes. Thielen really was making him look like a rookie at times, but he's going to get his at times. And this was one of those games where a veteran wide receiver was able to bail out his rookie or second year quarterback. But he played a good game. He played a decent game.
Mm-hmm. He played a real decent game. And this is actually a funny thing. I think it was last year. Adam Thielen said that the Panthers were going to the Super Bowl, and they barely got any wins.
Hey, confidence. He's confident, right?
Yeah, well, that didn't work.
Womp womp. Everyone, we're up to 86 live viewers, guys. Thank you for watching Stream Punk and Hardcore Sports Eagles post-game show. Guys, comment, tell us how you're feeling about the win. If you're happy with it, if you're feeling so, we're in the box scores right now. Let us know how you're feeling about Saquon becoming the Eagles' single-season rushing record holder now, breaking LaShawn McCoy's record. Let's get into Saquon. 20 carries, 124 yards, average 6.2 yards a carry. It's crazy, dude. A.J. Brown, 4 receptions, 43 yards, only 4 targets. Devontae Smith, 4 receptions, 37 yards, 1 touchdown. And then Grant Calcaterra, 3 receptions, 16 yards. He got his first career ever touchdown. So clap it up for Calcaterra stepping in for Dallas Goedert. Not a very overwhelming box score, considering Jahan Dotson got a reception. Finally, in the first quarter, they tried to get him going. But final grades. What do you give Jalen Hurts? Final grade, and what do you give Saquon Barkley? And then let's talk about the defense. What do you grade the defense overall?
Before that, I just gotta ask you: do you think it's time that we move on from Goddard at all? Because I don't know if this guy can stay healthy. Calcaterra's been showing some glimpses here and there. I am a true believer in Calcaterra right now. I truly am. He had a touchdown today. Remember that game where he had a clear stat at 0, but it was a clear best 0 game at all. He had that game recovery fumble. So
Yep.
I think he might. I don't know how many more years Goddard has under his belt, but maybe you gotta put that to your mind, right?
I will say this about Dallas Goedert.
Yeah.
I think he is a number 1A to another tight end being like a number 1B. I don't think he's your clear-cut number 1 starting tight end. And if he does end up moving on for whatever reason, my feelings wouldn't be hurt. I just think that Calcaterra only had 3 receptions off of 3 targets for 16 yards and a touchdown. But you can get that. You can have Dallas Goedert have stat lines like that too, right? I think Calcaterra is just as good as a blocker on run plays, and he's young. And it's a position at tight end that you're going to turn over and have guys, if they don't pan out. I wouldn't mind the tight end out of Penn State for what he's able to do. I think he's like Penn State's all-time leading reception leader and yards leader out of Penn State. I don't know his name, but he'd be a great replacement, and he'll probably be there when the Eagles are picking late in the draft. So I wouldn't be opposed to finding a tight end in the draft.
Yeah, in the draft, I'm right there with you. But Goddard has a 4-year, $57 million contract.
Never mind.
Scratch that. Scratch that. But
fun. No.
That's that. But it just makes you think. It's kind of like Goddard with Zach Ertz. It was kind of like Zach Ertz. Who is he with? Who is Zach Ertz?
Washington.
With?
Washington now.
No. When he was with the Eagles, who was the other tight end?
Brett Selleck, right?
That was Selleck, right?
Yeah.
So the Eagles always were a 2 tight end system.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're right about maybe drafting a tight end later on in the draft. Maybe
Especially when he has the injury record that he does. You joked around about it earlier, talking about how, when he's there. So
right.
what are your grades? What do you give Jalen Hurts and Saquon, and then what do you give the defense overall?
Okay. Jalen Hurts, I'll give him a B. I don't think the passing game was there at all. He looked kind of different with everything. Who Saquon Barkley gets an A. I mean, that's common sense. Every single
Yep.
game this year, I think he had an A or an A plus. And then the defense, I'm gonna give a B minus. I'm gonna give a B minus. It was just not that good compared to the last couple of weeks. And it's the Carolina Panthers, dude.
Yep.
It's the Carolina Panthers, and it just makes you worry about the Pittsburgh Steelers next week. Like, yeah, no.
No, I'm with you there. I'm gonna give Jalen Hurts, excuse me, a B minus because of that delay of game. Otherwise, I feel like he managed this game pretty well. Like you said, Barkley, he always gets an A. Unless he maybe minus the Falcons game, maybe that's the only game that he didn't get an A this season. He gets an A in the defense. I'm gonna even go. No, I can't give him a C. I'm gonna give him a B minus because they got the interception. They didn't get as many sacks that they got that I wanted to see them. But Jalen Carter, he disrupts every single play, every single time he's in. You might not see it in the stat book, but in the box score, but he disrupts everything. Overall, I'll give this a B minus for a win. Nothing super impressive. It passed, but like I said, keep saying they got the win. Heading into Pittsburgh. And speaking of Pittsburgh, let's get into some of these scores. They're going final, and the 4:00 games are starting. Saints get the win over the Giants 14-11. What a crazy game that was. Holy hell. 14-11. Steelers get the win 27-14 over the Browns. Vikings and the Falcons. Vikings get the win 42-21. Falcons are falling apart. How do you feel about the Vikings? Because they're that team that no one's really talking about. They're what? They've only lost twice as well. How do you feel about them heading into the playoff? Are they the team that people are forgetting about?
Because people think that the Vikings are just, what is the word I'm thinking of? Frauds. Like, they don't think they can actually keep up with the best teams like the Eagles, like the Lions, etc. They don't really have faith in them at all. So I just think if they can get a couple more wins under their belt, I think they'll be fine. They're in the lead right now, you said?
They won. They won 42-21. So they got the win. Falcons.
Again, it's the Falcons.
Yeah.
It's just like it's the Falcons, and people say it's the Eagles against the Panthers. It's the Panthers.
Yep.
So I wonder who they play next week. I wonder who the Vikings play next week.
I don't know. I'll finish. So if you look up that, I'll go into the rest of these. Bucks get the win over the Raiders 28-13. The Dolphins and the Jets. Dolphins get the win 32-26 in overtime. That's all the 1:00 games. Let's see. Right now, you got the Seahawks and the Cardinals. About 2.5 minutes left in the first. Seahawks are up 10-7. Bills and Rams. The Rams have a 7-0 lead over the Bills halfway through the first. And the Niners and the Bears. Niners are up early, 7-0, 5 minutes into the first. And then tonight, you got the Chargers and the Chiefs. And then tomorrow, Bengals and Cowboys. Can't wait to see the Bengals put a whooping on Dallas. How do you feel about what you saw from Detroit, who is the cream of the crop right now in the NFC? How did you feel? Did you watch that game Thursday against the Packers at all? And if you did, how do you feel about what the Lions are doing?
Well, first off, with the Vikings, they got the Bears next Monday. Then they got Seattle, Green Bay, and Detroit. So
Oh,
I
it's a
could
hell of
see
a
them.
ooh.
I could see them winning one game next in the next four.
Yeah.
I can
That's a
honestly
shitty way
see.
to end the season.
Yeah, but hey, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take anything at this point,
Yep.
especially if they lose to the Bears next week. Put a fork in them.
Hmm.
Put a fork if they lose to the Bears. But the Lions, in my opinion, I think they're the best team in football right now. They really stepped up when it matters the most. Jared Goff is not exactly having the best season, and they are missing Aiden Hutchinson too. That is
Yeah.
a big miss. And I'm a huge Michigan fan, so for me, I'm just like all my Michigan guys are injured. The guy on the Steelers, Wilson. You got McCarthy on the Vikings, and then you got Aiden Hutchinson here. So it sucks for me, but I think the Lions are the best team in football.
I think though this Eagles team, when healthy, especially on defense, they can beat this
Uh,
Detroit
I
team.
I could see that too. I could see that too.
Right? Be a hell of a game though. Be a hell of a game.
Yep.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining into the Eagles post-game show on Stream Punk Entertainment and Hardcore Sports. Eagles get the win 22-16. Saquon Barkley becomes the Eagles single season rushing record holder. Mitch, where can everyone find you at? What do you got going on this week?
All right. So you guys can find me right here on the Hardcore Sports Network. I'm the co-founder here. You can find me on Stream Punk Entertainment, my main channel, my second channel, what have you. But tomorrow I'm streaming Monday Night Raw on the Hardcore Sports Network. So
Nice.
I got that. That is going to be really fun. I got SmackDown on Friday. I got an Eagles show tomorrow. My guy, Cool Cat. Wednesday I got the pick and roll. Yeah, busy week this week. Busy week, but it's going to be fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. Ending the 2024 year on a strong note. And guys,
Yep.
you can find me on Stream Punk doing post game shows for the Sixers, doing post game shows for the Eagles, and then of course during MLS season, I'll be on the Attacking Third every Sunday morning with Pat Bernard, the Gobbler. So guys, make sure you're tuning into Stream Punk for all the other shows. They got MMA, soccer, wrestling, basketball, lacrosse. I mean, cinema. You name it. Stream Punk's doing it. They're finishing the year off strong. Hardcore Sports is finishing the year off strong. It's going to be a great 2025. Eagles get the win. For Mitch and myself, we are out. Go Birds.
Go Birds, man.